Well, to discuss all of this, we're joined now by legal analyst Troy Slayton and Dr. Janesri Silva, the Medical Director of Kids and Teens Medical Group. Thank you both for being here. Doctor, starting with you, how does increasing the legal age to buying cigarettes, just walk us through, how does that reduce the number of smokers over the long term?
I think this is going to help with parents understanding the importance of speaking to their teenagers about the risks, the safety, the hazards of e-cigarettes.
Yeah. What about those who say by regulating e-cigarettes, what they're doing is actually pushing people towards smoking?
Right. Well, both are under this law. So parents will become even more knowledgeable in helping their teenagers and even younger children, because e-cigarettes are being used not only by teenagers and young adults, but even junior high students. And they're also toxic. So if a young child accidentally ingests the nicotine in e-cigarettes, it can be deadly.
Troy, to you, the enforcement of this, I think it was a $5,000 fine if someone gets caught selling these to kids. What's a store owner to do? 18, 21, how do you know the difference? I mean, what's the legal responsibility here?
Well, stores are used to this with regard to selling alcohol or tobacco products. They're used to this. So just changing the age from 18 to 21 just means that they're going to have to look for a different year on their identification. So stores, this also causes restaurants and bars where cigarettes have been banned in California for nearly a decade. It's just adding another thing to that list of things that you can't do in restaurants, bars, theaters, even covered garages and schools.
Yeah. On the e-cigarette regulations front, what are you anticipating in terms of legal challenges to this?
Well, so the FDA has said that they're going to regulate these exactly the same as all other tobacco products. So that means that the FDA, who's notorious for their testing and packaging requirements, are going to now require this of this burgeoning e-cigarette and vaping
this industry. Yeah, and these guys are saying, we'll get you in a minute, Dr. I just want to get to this point where on the legal side of it. The industry, the e-cigarette industry is saying the cost of getting these things tested is so high, $5 million a pop. The FDA disputes that, but they're saying this is the end of the e-cigarette industry. If you've gone out and invested your life savings in an e-cigarette store, what's your recourse here?
Well, there will inevitably be some lawsuits. The FDA asked for public comments, and they got over 130,000 public comments. So they've now promulgated these rules, and there are obviously industry trade groups where they can get together, and they're going to fight this, which will delay implementation of the law. But the FDA is going to require rigorous testing and proof using double-blind, placebo-controlled studies to require that these companies prove that they're safe and efficacious.
And Dr. Silva, you talked about the dangers associated with e-cigarettes, but there seems to be some level of dispute about the safety of these products.
That is the big problem, because we are seeing teenagers, younger than teenagers, preteens, who are using e-cigarettes because of the fun factor. It is the flavor of a candy, fruit flavors, and they just think it's just liquid water that they vape. It's become a social media sensation among this population. And so that's why it's extremely important to work on preventative health care for children and our youth. And so I applaud Governor Jerry Brown for putting this law into place, because a lot of our health care dollars aren't going into pediatrics and preventative health. E-cigarettes and nicotine, those are the types of ingredients and chemicals that can cause not only lung cancer, but asthma, bronchitis, heart disease, diabetes, a multitude of chronic illnesses. And nicotine, the active chemical in e-cigarettes, can affect every cell in a young person's body, and also the brain.
Sure, I just want to jump in here, because what is the difference between an 18-year-old brain and a 21-year-old brain when it comes to the possibility of addiction to nicotine?
The potential for addiction in a young adolescent brain between 18 and 21, it's still a growing brain. So the brain hasn't fully developed. So nicotine can affect the cerebral cortex and cognitive function. So it can affect behavior, where it can lead to bad behaviors, it can lead to bad decision making. There could be high rates of dropouts in colleges. So it's really important for us to have a law like this to help in prevention. And I really hope that Governor Brown looks into more prevention in pediatric health care.
But the e-cigarette advocates are saying that this is a healthier alternative to people that are using combustible nicotine products, and that by the FDA in California making these more difficult, that they're pushing people away from this safer alternative.
90% of people say they quit smoking by using e-cigarettes.
That's right. That's a way for them to wean themselves off of traditional cigarettes.
So this is the deceitful problem with the cigarette makers, right? So they are saying, oh yes, e-cigarettes are safer, but they're absolutely not. There have been years of studies showing the dangers of nicotine on the parasympathetic nervous system, on the heart rate, causing rapid heart rate. So in a low dose, yes, it can give you possibly good feeling, but in higher doses and chronic use, it creates addiction. It then leads these people, these young adolescents and young adults, then to move on to cigarettes, and then to move on to other drugs. So there are a lot of scientific data currently that we're aware of the bad and adverse toxic effects of nicotine and e-cigarettes.
And Doctor, you get the last word.
Yeah, Dr.
Thank you both for being with us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.